Mike Dorsey, the filmmaker behind the documentary Murder Rap Inside.
Bitch, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here. Yo.
Now beyond that one issue, within the Tupac or the Biggie case, because that's a completely unrelated case, as you know. So within this Biggie case, how is it that I'm somehow covering up for the LAPD while I'm simultaneously criticizing the LAPD? Have been generalized as being death row employees, and that's not true. There were cops working for Death Row Records, Inglewood PD, Compton PD, one or two LAPD officers, but not the picture you guys try to paint where there's all of these, in particular, David Mack, who never had any association with Death Row Records, and that's the picture that you guys trying to paint. All of PD, one or two LAPD officers, but not the picture you guys try to paint where there's all of these, in particular, David Mack, who never had any association with Death Row Records, and that's the picture that you guys trying to paint. Tell me exactly how David Mack was associated with Death Row. One thing. Name one thing and one employee who testified to seeing them there.
Officer David Mack was apparently a charismatic and social guy. So many people at death row remember him.
I knew David very well. I was actually quite shocked when I saw David and he was an LAPD. Very surprised. And he came with me to the video shoot when we were doing Mac Mall and Ray Love's video shoot. And Tupac was directing, and he wanted to be connected because he wanted to do off-duty work for rap artists. And I brought him to that video shoot, and a little later, I found out he was working with all the rappers I knew off-duty, and a lot of other cops that I knew.
Layla isn't the only one who remembers Mack and Perez.
Good morning. Very good of you to see us.
What makes Kading's comments about Mack and Perez look especially weak is that even Police Chief Bernard Parks himself said they worked for death row.
We know that David Mack and Rafael Perez both work security in this rap culture as it relates to some of these artists. But we have had
the death
row records, but we have no information, nor has any information come forward that would cause us to believe that either one of them are suspects. If in our continuing investigation we uncover facts that we can prove, then we will continue moving forward to clear that case. But until then, what we've seen so far is merely undocumented speculation that has not led to any significant leads.
It would appear that Police Chief Bernard Parks should have been well acquainted with Mack and Perez, according to Xavier Jimenez.
One of the most shocking things in that Board of Rights, or any that I've ever done in over 30 years, was there was a photograph of Rafael Perez and David Mack, who were the two police officers that were bad news, and a woman standing in the middle. And they were all dressed in red from head to toe, a hat, whatever, which is the color of the blood gangs. There's the Crips, and their colors are blue. And so these guys were dressed in red. And they were standing behind a table where there was a cake that said something about Blood's Rule or something like that. And I was startled because I recognized the woman. And it was the daughter of Police Chief Bernard Parks, who it appeared was a Blood gang member.
That's incredible.
Yeah, tell me about it. I looked at this thing, I turned to my two partners, and I said, "Is this the way I think it is?" And they said, "Yeah."
The Biggie Smalls estate lawyers were never able to get a copy of this photograph, which mysteriously disappeared. It is also alleged that Michelle Parks and Officer Rafael Perez were in a dating relationship. Officer David Mack was later convicted for this bank robbery. It's alleged that on the night of the robbery, Michelle Park's Mac and Perez investigation into possible LAPD involvement with her son's murder.
I literally was watching TV one night, and I came across this documentary on the whole Biggie murder. So I wrote up a long report to my bosses. They all signed off on it. They said, yeah, you know what? You got something here. Let's run with it. So that's how the whole case got started.
The LAPD did not welcome this FBI investigation and set up their own, looking for evidence to counterattack the Biggie Smalls lawsuit. Greg Kading was the head of Operation Transparency.
Yeah, so as that lawsuit kind of weaved in and out of the courts, it came to a point where the LAPD realized that, in civil court, just about anything could happen, and they thought it would be in their best interest to re-look at the case.
The city of LA prevented the lead FBI investigator, Phil Carson, from testifying at the trial.
They said, yeah, you're not looking into solving a murder. You're looking into solving a murder that involved the LAPD orchestrating it. They said, you guys got to squash this subpoena because if Phil testifies, we got at least a 50-50 chance of losing a $500 million lawsuit. And to be honest with you, they're right. I think it's better than a 50-50 chance.
Greg Kading, who headed up the LAPD task force, disputes that LAPD cops were involved in the hit on Biggie Smalls. He not only wrote a book, but was involved in a major series on Netflix and on BET, and his views are widely accepted today. He says that Officers Mack and Perez never worked at death row, but we came up with new evidence showing Greg Kading is incorrect.
David Mack, the LAPD officer, never ever worked or was affiliated and associated with death row records at all. Neither was Rafael Perez. And those were the two individuals that jailhouse informants had claimed were part of death row security. They weren't, ever. And that was looked into not only by the original investigators back in the mid-90s, but also by our task force.